I never thought betrayal would wear such a familiar face. The kind of face you wake up next to every morning, the kind you trust without question, the kind you believe would never trade your love for anything. But that illusion shattered the night I stumbled upon the truth. It wasn't through suspicion, not through paranoia. No, it came by accident, like fate dropped the mask she had been wearing all along. One message, one careless mistake, and suddenly, the woman I thought I knew became a stranger who was sleeping in my bed. It wasn't love she wanted anymore. It was money, status, the comfort of things I could never give fast enough. I saw it all laid out in her words, the ones she sent to another man, the promises, the flattery, the cruel comparisons. She painted me as weak, as small, as nothing more than a stepping stone. My hands shook as I read, but my mind went quiet. Most men would explode, scream, demand answers, but not me. I knew in that moment, silence would become my greatest weapon. I went to bed that night, beside her, pretending nothing had changed. I listened to her breathing, steady, innocent, like she hadn't just stabbed me through the heart hours before. I wondered how she could be so calm, so comfortable, while secretly planning her escape with another man's wallet. I didn't confront her. I didn't cry. Instead, I memorized every word, every detail, every lie. If she wanted to play games with my life, she would soon learn I could play too, and I was far better at waiting. Days turned into weeks. I watched her carefully, like an actor memorizing his role. The way she smiled at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. The way her excuses grew weaker, sloppier. She thought she was clever, but to me, she was glass, transparent, fragile, already cracking. I started planting seeds, quiet ones she didn't notice. Small doubts with friends, subtle absences in her routine. No one suspected I knew, and that was my greatest advantage. She was already building her own downfall. I didn't rush. Revenge, done quickly, burns out too soon. I wanted something slower, something that ate her piece by piece. So I kept quiet, watching, collecting. Bank statements, messages, receipts, every thread of her lies woven into a rope that would one day hang her illusions. Meanwhile, I smiled. I laughed. I kissed her forehead like nothing was wrong. And each kiss was poison, each smile a countdown. She believed she was winning. Her greed grew bolder. She asked for more, money, gifts, promises I couldn't and wouldn't give. I saw the disappointment in her eyes when I refused, but I also saw her desperation. She had invested herself in an illusion of riches, and the cracks were starting to show. I let her think she was in control. I let her underestimate me. She didn't know that with every lie she told, I tightened the noose around her future. She was digging her own grave. I was just handing her the shovel. The first real move came quietly. I let one of her lies slip into the light, not by accident, but by design. A story she told a friend contradicted another, and suddenly questions started to circle. She brushed them off, of course. She always had a quick excuse, a charming laugh. But once doubt is planted, it grows fast. People began noticing things, her inconsistencies, her shifting behavior. She thought she was still in control, but she was already losing the audience she relied on. I remained her biggest supporter in public. To everyone, I looked like the devoted partner, blind to her flaws, blind to the whispers, and she leaned into that image, using me as a shield. But behind closed doors, I was dismantling her carefully built facade, one conversation at a time, one subtle truth dropped in the right ear. I didn't need to shout. The truth has a way of spreading faster than lies once it's given the smallest spark, and soon, sparks became flames. She noticed the shift eventually. People stopped looking at her the same way. Invitations dried up. Friends pulled back. She couldn't understand why, and she turned to me for comfort, for reassurance. I gave it with a smile that masked the satisfaction burning inside me. To her, I was the safe place she could fall back to. To me, she was a performer who had forgotten the script, fumbling under the spotlight while the audience began to turn. Her world was crumbling, and I was its architect. The man she betrayed me for, he wasn't blind either. Slowly, he began to see the cracks, the manipulations, the greed. I made sure of it. A screenshot here, a receipt there, slipped carefully into his path without a trace leading back to me. It wasn't long before he pulled away, leaving her stranded, desperate, abandoned by the very future she traded me for. She came home angry, broken, snapping at me like it was my fault. But I smiled through it all. Her empire of lies was collapsing. She tried to regain control. She spun new lies, crafted new stories, reaching for sympathy wherever she could find it. She painted herself as the victim of me, of life, of everyone who refused to bow to her narrative. Some believed her at first. But I held my silence, waiting, watching. Because I had something she didn't. Proof. And proof doesn't need a voice. It speaks louder than any performance. I only needed the right moment to release it. And I knew that moment was near. It started small. A private conversation exposed. A financial trail revealed. Nothing too dramatic. Nothing too obvious. Just enough to make people doubt her words again. And when doubt mixes with evidence, even the strongest performance crumbles. She lashed out, desperate, clinging to the image she had built. But desperation is ugly, and people saw it clearly now. The charm she once wielded became poison, and the sympathy she begged for turned into suspicion. She was unraveling faster than she could mend the threads. She accused me, eventually, said I was sabotaging her, that I was the one destroying her reputation. I didn't deny it, but I didn't confirm it either. I looked her in the eyes and simply asked, why would I need to lie when the truth is enough? That silence destroyed her more than any argument could. Because she knew. Deep down, she knew her own actions had led here. I was just the mirror reflecting it back at her. And she hated me for it. Her life shrank day by day. Friends gone. Reputation ruined. Money slipping through her fingers faster than she could grab it. She tried running back to the man she betrayed me with, but he wanted nothing to do with her anymore. She tried finding others to replace him, but lies don't sell well once the mask is broken. Every door closed, every bridge burned, and there I was, standing silently at the edge of it all, watching the empire she built on betrayal crumble into dust. She broke down one night, sobbing, begging me to forgive her, to save her from the storm she had created. I listened, expressionless, letting her pour out every excuse, every plea, every tear. She wanted absolution, but forgiveness isn't currency you can buy when convenient. She had traded love for greed, loyalty for wealth, and now she wanted me to rescue her from the consequences. I didn't yell. I didn't comfort her. I just watched her realize that the silence was my answer. She tried to rebuild, started an online fundraiser claiming she was a victim of abuse, said I ruined her life, posted blurry pictures and half-truths. I let her scream into the void. Because behind every post, I had receipts, proof of every lie, every theft, every betrayal. When people started to believe her, I released the truth, slowly, strategically. I didn't need to defend myself. The facts did it for me. The fundraiser, taken down. Her followers, turned on her. The last thread she clung to, snapped. After that, she messaged me again, said she was sorry, that she missed me, that she didn't know what she was doing. I didn't reply. She didn't deserve closure. She deserved to sit with the silence she gave me for months while I slept beside a stranger. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't violent. I was patient. And patience had done what rage never could. It destroyed her from the inside out. She wasn't the victim. She was her own executioner. I just handed her the mirror. The world moved on without her. Friends found new circles. The man she betrayed me for built a life without her. And I rebuilt quietly. Stronger, sharper, less naive. People often say karma comes slowly, but I learned something different. Karma doesn't arrive on its own. Sometimes it needs a hand to guide it, a silent hand that knows where to place the cracks. She thought she could shatter me and walk away with gold. Instead, she shattered herself, and I only watched. Do I regret it? Sometimes, late at night, I wonder, could I have confronted her differently? Could I have saved myself years of quiet revenge? Maybe, but then I remember the way she laughed in those messages, mocking me, selling my love for pocket change. And I realize, I didn't just ruin her. I taught her a lesson she'll never forget. Trust is priceless. Betrayal is debt. And every debt must be paid. She thought the cost was mine. She was wrong. It was always hers. So here I stand, free, calm, untouched by the storm I created. Some will call it cruel. Some will call it justice. For me, it was survival. Love made me blind, but betrayal sharpened my vision. She lost everything chasing the illusion of wealth. And I lost nothing but the illusion of her love. In the end, I didn't destroy her. She destroyed herself. I simply held the mirrors steady. And sometimes, the most powerful revenge is letting someone drown in the silence they created.